Oh my gosh. Hi, I'm Victoria. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for meeting with me. I have recently found out that I am pregnant, and I'm just nervous about it. I don't know what to do, where to start, and I saw your ad online with you being a research-based person to help me find out what's the best thing for me to do to make sure my baby's perfect. Hi, yes, it's so nice to meet you. Yes, I am definitely research based. I love finding research articles that are about whatever we have. So we have research backed evidence to make sure that your baby is going to grow to its full potential. I have found this article for us that I believe is one of the most important things when you are pregnant, which is all about your sleep patterns and your circadian rhythm. Let me find it. Okay, so this article, it is called Sleep and Circadian Rhythms During Pregnancy, Social Disadvantage, and Alterations in Brain Development in Neonates. This article is written by Caroline P. Hoynek, Diana J. Wallen, Joan L. Lubby, Deanne M. Barch, J. Philip Miller, Pian Zhao, Regina L. Triplett, Yo L. Ju, Christopher D. Smizer, Barbara Warner, Cynthia E. Rogers, Eric D. Herzog, and Sarah K. England. Now, this article basically goes over your social situation and what social class you're in and how that affects your sleep and how that affects your baby's brain development. Wow, that sounds so interesting. I'm definitely I'm going into this pregnancy a single mother, so I am going to be working a lot, and I am paying the most I can for the nicest place I can, but it's definitely not in the best part of town. There's a lot of, street noise and all of that stuff. So sleep is kind of difficult for me, so this is really important. This is such an interesting article. How did the researchers even conduct this? What a great question. Let's talk about who they chose for this article and why. So, there were 148 women that were in this study. The criteria that they needed to be included was that they were pregnant, they had a full-term infant, and those infants had no evidence of a brain injury visible on an MRI. And then they also did not need intensive care 7 days after the baby was born. So these were all healthy women. They had no infections, no diseases. They didn't have more than one baby. They didn't have any drug or alcohol abuse. These were all healthy mothers. For the researchers to collect this data from the pregnant women, they had the pregnant women wear actigraphy devices, which is kind of like a watch that tracks their movement throughout the night. So it's able to analyze data from their sleep based on how much movement they had throughout the night. They could tell when they were awake or when they were sleeping. And then they wore these throughout all 3 trimesters of their pregnancy. They also had the participants provide surveys throughout their pregnancy based on their hormone profiles and just about the type of sleep that they were getting. And then once the babies were born, they had to go through imaging data of their child from the time they were born up until they were 3. So they got to see some different stages of the children's development. Also collected whether the women had a higher social disadvantage or a lower social disadvantage before they were even admitted into the research. So that was all known beforehand. Oh, how interesting. What did the researchers even find from this study? Wow, what a great question. So the researchers from this study did end up finding that there is a connection with women who have more sleep disturbances and have higher social disadvantage, and their infants having smaller brain volumes and smaller brain surface areas. So if the woman's sleep pattern varied day from day, and if their sleep pattern didn't match up with their natural circadian rhythm, that did lead to smaller brain volumes, and their infants. Wow, that's really interesting. Since you back all your information up with research and evidence, are there any critiques that you have about this specific article? You would be great at doing all your own research. You're asking all the right questions. But yes, I do have some strengths and weaknesses that I think are kind of important from this article. My first strength, we'll start off strong, is the participant sample. They had 148 mother child dyads, and I do see that as a strength because it is big enough for detecting medium to large effects. A critique of that, though, is that it could be seen as a weakness because it could have low statistical power and not be big enough to detect the small effects. Big weakness for me when looking over this article is that the discussion does go over that the authors believe that they should have maternal sleep interventions, but they don't break down exactly what they think would be beneficial, like what interventions would be the best. And I do think that would be helpful for readers. But overall, I think you're asking all the right questions. You're doing your research. Just remember how important sleep is and focus on your natural circadian rhythm, and that will help your baby's brain develop to its full potential. Thanks for meeting me.